All right, our next case this morning here is People of the State of Michigan versus Tamika Unique Erickson. Allocution, Mr. Harrison.
I'm noticing as well, as you can see, Miss Erickson's demeanor here today, and my conversations with her lately have been centered around this issue. She's scared. She's scared that this will be a situation that she could have had a lot worse outcome. It could have had a lot worse situation moving into the future. So I used the word scared, and maybe that has some negative connotations, but I meant it in a positive way because sometimes the thing that you worry about with someone who lives with addiction, as Miss Erickson does, is what's it going to take? What's it going to take to get them to stop and think and make some lifestyle determinations that don't simply allow her to fall back on her old ways of doing things. I'm pretty impressed with her demeanor and her outlook. She's done a couple of things. She's made tons of inquiries with regard to getting into some kind of treatment that the way she describes it would be irrespective of whether the court or probation or anybody thinks it's a good idea. It's something she wants to do for herself, because she's taken that step to say, I need to make a change and I need to do it now, because while I'm a young person now, I won't be in a couple of years. And I'll really regret it if I don't take this opportunity to make that change. She's also gotten in touch with, maybe for the first time, the Native American community, that while she knew she had Native American heritage, she did not have contact with that part of her lineage, and she's found that to be a positive opportunity as well. As the court is well aware, that particular community has devoted significant resources to things like interaction and rehab. I hate to use the word in this context, but I will. Her attitude, Your Honor, has done a 360 as far as she was still wallowing in a bunch of negativity and sad, woe is me when she first got arrested and was put in jail. Recommendation seems a little bit unclear. I want to be clear that what I think an appropriate sentence here would be for the 84 days jail she's already served, and then a period of probation.
Wasn't she? Hadn't she just gotten off of probation?
Yeah.
5 months before on another file, and she'd gotten caught her first time when she was 17. Got 7411, completed that, went right back to alcohol shortly thereafter.
Yep.
Why did she not get a hold of her heritage roots after that?
I don't know. And it's a good, I suppose it's a good question, because it is probative of what her state of mind was at that point in time. How, I can't speak to that, Your Honor. Maybe if she chooses to address it, maybe she can. It's like on a cartoon where a character gets bonked in the head and loses his memory, then it gets bonked on the head and it comes back. That's not how the real world works. But I think it's a telling analogy for what likely occurred in Ms. Erickson's outlook here.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Erickson is now convicted of 4 felonies. So I imagine if she were to pick up a similar offense in the future, looking at prison, not a chance of probation. She now has 3 felonies in this case, 3 felony convictions, and in the circumstances that led up to those convictions are that she let her addiction take control of her life, and that put her in a place where she was allowing drug dealers to deal out of her home. Because I believe this may be her last chance to avoid prison and or death. In this case, I would ask the court to sentence her to the time she already served, but I would ask the court to set her on probation for 3 years.
All right, Ms. Erickson, it's your chance to make the statement if you choose to do so. Is there anything you wish to say at this time?
I was very young in the beginning of catching all this stuff, and I have changed. And I do want it actually this time I know I fell off pretty soon from just getting off probation, but I was way in over my head, and I know that's more excuses, but I do feel different about everything this time, for sure.
Well, I noticed something here in the old PSI. This is a problem, and I'm not a fan of the Department of Corrections when they merely attach a PSI because often from another file, because they often don't update it. And if there's errors in the first one, there continues to be the errors in the second one. And so when I look at the first one back in Grand Traverse, there's gaps of questions that I would have. For instance, on its CFJ 284, page 8, it talks about several medical health issues, and it shows a beginning date. It says, this doesn't make any sense. This really bothers me when I read these from the Department of Corrections. Look where it says health problem, then it says medication, which is all blank. Then it looks for treatment, it just says medication. Are you on this medication?
I can't say, I don't remember what I was on back then, but I am on medication now.
Okay.
I am getting it from the jail currently.
Okay. Were you getting it before you went into the jail?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I took myself off.
All right. That's kind of an important thing where the person who prepared the PSI should have let me know that she stopped taking it. She only takes it when she's in jail. And who was dealing drugs from the home?
A 15-year-old minor and myself.
What about Malone?
I have no clue who that is. I'm trying to figure that out still.
It says the Traverse Narcotics team was doing controlled buys of fentanyl and crack cocaine from you and Mr. Malone. You don't know Mr. Malone, but you're doing deals with him?
I don't know their real names, sir.
What were you doing? It says here you guys were dealing fentanyl and crack cocaine.
Yes, they were staying at my house, but I don't know them by their first names. They never told me their real names at all.
How long were they staying there with you at your house?
They would stay for a week or two at a time.
So how long was that going on? If it was for a week or two at a time, was that over the 6 months that you lived there?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And were you renting that home?
I was renting a room.
Was anybody else living in that house with you?
Yes, my aunt.
Okay. This 15-year-old that was staying there with you.
Yes, he was from Muskegon.
Oh, now we're catching it. The drug dealers from Muskegon. 1 container of 0.5 gram of crack cocaine, a scale with residue, another bag of 0.5 gram of cocaine, some red and white paper with 1.5 grams of cocaine, a crack pipe, a cellophane wrapping with 0.5 gram of cocaine, another one that had 17 grams of crack cocaine, and there was heroin and fentanyl. And then there were pistols. There's a 22 pistol, a 22 pistol, a 22 rifle, and a shotgun. That was found in a different bedroom. Is that
Yes,
right?
Your Honor. Those are my aunts and my uncles.
Okay. And you decided to hide 3 grams of cocaine in a body cavity. I'm sorry, not cocaine, heroin and fentanyl. What made you do that?
It was a normal reaction, to be honest.
Okay. First Nation heritage here. Have you ever had contact with reservations and programs available there?
No, we had just finished our family tree of that. So
Okay.
that was something I was starting to look into.
All right. Well, the reason she's not looking here at a higher level, because the second subsequent was dismissed, the possession of methamphetamine was dismissed. We take a bit of an issue sometimes when the prosecutors come in and ask for hire this or hire that, when they're the ones who cut the deal the way they did. And that's all right, that's their choice. But this was a big drug bust up in Neeson. And they're telling me they think 84 days of time served is appropriate, and I strongly disagree. You're basically a drug dealer. You are using this house, and I don't know why your aunt and uncle are here. Maybe they've got a case coming up, but this is a drug dealer case. The guidelines are insufficient. And I'll also tell you, I have this problem. I've been debating this a little bit. How often do I go and do everybody else's job? Why is there no offense variable 19 when she was trying to hide the stuff in her body? How come there aren't other charges on scorings underneath OV 12 or 13 for possession with intent? If you guys don't want to put in the effort and review the PSIs a little further, then don't. That's perfectly okay. But then I will, and I'll tell you these guidelines are woefully ineffective and not scored properly. And they do not establish an appropriate guideline range. This was a crack house. About 20 grams of crack cocaine found in this little home up in downtown Mesa, which, by the way, although I don't know the exact distance, is within a quarter mile of the high school, within probably a couple hundred yards of downtown Mesa, plus the 3 grams of heroin and fentanyl. That, by the way, had that container up inside of her body cavity ruptured, she would have been dead. And all the efforts in the past have failed. Now, in 2022, she didn't complete 2 drug programs. 2018, she didn't complete another one. Because that's what, by preponderance of the evidence, all this evidence shows. You are providing a location for the drug dealers in Muskegon, who we all hear about now, and a 15-year-old kid. You're providing a place for a 15-year-old child to come and deal drugs. Oh my gosh. I don't know if anybody out there in the courtroom has read this PSI thoroughly. There's no way 84 days is enough. So you should be concerned about prison. It used to be that a 0 to 17 guidelines sanction cell said I couldn't even give prison. It was illegal. They don't say that now. They say it actually starts at 0 unless I find there to be reasonable grounds. Well, again, the guidelines are inadequate and they're not even scored fully is the way I see it. And you're a repeat drug offender. And you're providing this place for other people to come up from other towns to hide out in your house and deal crack cocaine. Oh my gosh. Criminal history began, or first of all, you've been using drugs since you were 12. I can't fix that with a rehab program. Bear River Health ain't going to fix it. Probation, not going to fix it. Also, the law says underneath 771.1, I can only use probation when I think there's a likelihood that you're not going to reoffend. And I think you are going to reoffend. I can't fix a pattern. You are a very young person, but your whole life for the last 15 years has been drugs. You began in 2017 when you were 17 years of age. I don't know if it means that it says not scored 7411, so therefore I must assume that she completed it. But you lasted 9 months after that, and then you got caught with operating while intoxicated. Then it was shortly thereafter you began stealing, you got the retail fraud. You were given probation that was revoked unsuccessfully because you made it 2 weeks before violating probation. Then you got a driver's license suspended in 2020. Not a big charge, but it does say that you're deceptive. And then in 2021 at the Grand Traverse, you had your first run-in with the the Traverse Narcotics team. You got a possession of meth, and you were placed upon a period of probation for 2 years, and you made it 3 months. No, I take it back, 4 months. After that, you made it another couple weeks. But then after that, you made it only a couple more months into June 2022. Then you made it 2 more months and you failed to complete you ordered into a Women's New Hope shelter, but you almost immediately tested positive for use. So the answer is just no. I don't think you're going to change. I don't think, at least not right now, because everybody tends to probably treat you a little too nicely. This is no. I know it's an intermediate sanction cell, but the way the law is written now, I can still give prison with those reasonable grounds. And I think those are reasonable grounds. The court therefore sentences the defendant to a prison term of for count 1 and count 2 13 to 24 months. Or count 2, which is the maintaining a drug house. That is also, hold on, I said 24 months, that's 48 months. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. 13, 1 and 2 are 13 to 48, and count 3 is 13 to 24 with 84 months. Court adds a $68 state minimum fee, $130 crime victims' right fund fee. I'm not going to add any court costs, fines. There'll be a $60 DNA fee, no attorney fee. Now, Miss Erickson, you may qualify for a boot camp now that I'm sending you there. And if you take boot camp, I'm likely to grant it. And if I do, you'll probably actually get out quicker than if I were to send you to the jail for a year. But I hope you take it. This attitude that you've got where you think it's absolutely okay to spread drug addiction around in this county is wrong. And if you're helping these 15-year-old kids come up here and deal, no. And when you get on the phone sometime and you talk to those people down in Muskegon who are setting up these young kids, tell them do not come up here to Wexford County, go someplace else, or just stop doing it. Don't come up here and deal in it. Get out of here. Stay away from our counties. Thank you. We're adjourned.